Wonderful. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We are so excited to see all of you. It's important, and I woke up today really excited about this. We've been planning this for quite some time. We have an amazing lineup of professors that you're going to be learning with, and just wanted to share that we are so honored that all of you signed up and registered and kept emailing us and letting us know that you're so interested. So we're excited. This is the first cohort of our California Indian Educational Leader cohort. Nicole Lim is here with us, who will be your lead instructor for it. And she'll also introduce some of the lineup that we have for you. So I think you're gonna love it. So I'm gonna get started, then we're gonna do introductions. Know that tonight's meeting won't last all the way to 7. We'll probably go to probably about 6 o'clock, maybe a little earlier. We just want to go through logistics. Nikki wants to introduce herself to you and also share some content for tonight. So we have recorded this session for anybody that misses it. And I'm just going to share my screen and get started, and then we'll move into introductions. Okay, Taylor, can you see my screen with the slide?
Sorry, I don't know if you could see me, but yes.
Okay, awesome. So welcome everyone to the California Indian Educational Leader Pathway Cohort. This is a collaboration of several partners that have been working on this for years and planning this for years. So it's the California Indian Ed for All, the Joseph A. Myers Center on Research in Native American Issues, California Indian Culture and Sovereignty Center, the Cal State University San Marcos American Indian Studies Department, which several of the professors you'll be learning from are currently faculty at, San Diego County Office of Ed, and California Indian Museum and Cultural Center. So we are so excited. In the chat, Taylor will put it back in there, but this is all you need to know for tonight. We're going to go through logistics. Nikki is going to introduce herself to you, share a little bit of the schedule, and then she has a really nice introduction of going through Native American history and policy with you tonight. So know that we are going to spend most of the time in the next hour. Taylor and I are going to go through logistics. You'll get to know Nikki. And then we'll take a break probably around 5 o'clock and then come back, learn from Nikki for a little bit, and then we'll probably wrap up around 6 tonight. When we meet in 2 weeks and we have our next session, the way that it's going to work, we won't have logistics like this. This is the only time in the session that we do this amount of time on logistics. So just so you know what's expected, and so everybody can participate and make it a really effective remote learning for everyone. I know for some of you this is new. We want to take any pressure off. If you're nervous about taking this, this is all for you to learn from really amazing, wise professors, Native American elders in our community, and then also be able to collaborate and share with one another. So I know Taylor, myself, or Nikki have relationships, I think, with almost each one of you. And we're excited to get to know you better and have you all get to know each other too in this cohort. So Hauka, Mahiyam, CO, there are so many other tribal languages that we need to put on here to welcome all of you. If you speak a tribal language or you work with a community and you know how to do an introduction, please put that in the chat right now. We want to celebrate our tribal languages, and we'll be focusing on that throughout this cohort when we talk about Native American history and tribal languages. As a way to just honor the land that we work on here in San Diego County, we have Jimmy La Chapa, we also have Blue Eagle that have performed land acknowledgements with us in the past, and we have recorded them for this. So we hope the next 2 minutes as you're watching this, you can see an overview of ways that we are really trying to promote belonging of Native American families and the brilliance of our Native youth, and ancestral pedagogy and knowledge within the classrooms, in the tribal education centers too. So this is just a brief overview that we want to, one, acknowledge the land, but more importantly, acknowledge the amazing work that's happening within our schools, districts, and our tribal communities. So just a way to be present, come together. We'll be sharing different types of ways to acknowledge the land and acknowledge the community, and really celebrate the work that's happening. And we will do a sign up. So if you are interested as we move forward in our cohort and you'd like to share either ways that you do land acknowledgements or honoring the community, if you have quick videos, we also have some meditations and examples from other states of what they've been creating with tribal community. We'd love to highlight that, and we'll have a shared folder for that to help you think about that and think about ways that you can continue to share. So we are honored, as you saw. I know it went through it quickly, but know that all these slides we'll be sharing with you throughout the cohort too. And you will get access to the PowerPoint and the slides as we go through also. The grant that we do have that funds this is the Federal Department of Education, the U.S. Department of Ed, Office of Indian Education. And it's a federal grant that supports Native youth and families. And we are excited to use funds from that to continue to work with the 12 districts that we've been working closely with, including SDCOE, which is a district, and then 11 tribes within San Diego County. We also work really closely with Southern California Tribal Chairmen's Association and provide resources and trainings to the 25 tribes involved with SCTCA. So we're going to move into introductions now. And again, after that, we're going to just get a chance to get to know all of you, and also have a chance to go through the logistics of this course. So as you notice, if you've been going on the website and scrolling down, we'll do a deeper dive into the website for the course in just a moment. But tonight's focus is really introductions, overview, logistics, and then Nikki is going to take you through the fundamentals of Native American history and policy. So what I'd love to do now, Nikki, if you're able, feel free to unmute, and I'm going to have Nikki introduce herself. And for this, we're going to turn off the sharing for this, and I'll turn the sharing back on. But Nikki, if you could introduce yourself, we're so excited to have your wisdom, your leadership for this, and just supporting us with all the partnerships of the professors that you'll be working with.
Great. Thank you, Stacy. Hi, everybody. Good to see new faces and some old acquaintances. My name is Nicole Myers-Lim. I'm Pomo and Miwok. I live up in Sonoma County, which is the ancestral territory of 24 Pomo, Miwok, and Wapo tribes in our region, Mendocino, Lake, and Sonoma County. I'm the director of the California Indian Museum and Cultural Center, and I am a professor of Native American Studies, have been teaching Native American Studies since the late 90s, have taught at a lot of different schools. Currently, I have a federal Indian law class at Berkeley, although I am taking the semester off. And I teach at Cal State San Marcos, generally decolonizing California history, as well as food sovereignty class and Native American law class as well. I really love teaching. It's a passion of mine. I think it comes from my father. My father was Joseph Myers. You can see one of the partners is the Joseph Myers Center. My dad worked for a long time in the administration of justice. He ran the National Indian Justice Center since 1983 until his passing in 2020. And our family has had a long history of nonprofit careers that are dedicated to improving infrastructure in Native communities. And so that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about this cohort. I think that curricular reform and education reform is a long time coming in California. And it's really about all of us that are doing the work on the ground. And so I believe true change comes from within and building the infrastructures and ensuring that Native people are our own experts and that we're acknowledged and recognized as such. And so all the work that we do is with that goal in mind, that goal of improving the situation for the next generation so that we don't feel stuck in Groundhog's Day because we see the same materials and misrepresentations and lies over and over and over. And so I'm excited about coming together. I'm excited about a lot of the different guest speakers that we're going to have. California Native historian William Bauer will be next week. We'll have Dina Whittaker twice during the cohort to talk about stereotypes as well as environmental education. Dr. Debbie Reese, who is an expert on Native American children's literature. We'll talk about data and the state of Indian education with Dr. Proudfit as well. So I think each week has an exciting person that has contributed to the fabric of California Indian history and cultural awareness. And so it's going to be great. And so I look forward to working with all of you and not just in this classroom or the Zoom room. I really feel like the strength of this is our power to work together as a network of professionals. And so feel free to reach out to me outside of this as well as, and I hope that in my 30 years plus that I've been working in this field, I can help you access resources and resolve any challenges that you're experiencing. So looking forward to it, and I'll pass it back to you, Stacy, and we'll get started soon.
Thanks, Nikki. I'll introduce myself. I'm Stacy Block, CO. I'm enrolled citizen of Cherokee Nation, and I work at San Diego County Office of Education within our Native Education Department. So we oversee two grants, the Native Scholars Pathway and the Model Curriculum for Native American Studies for California Department of Education. I was recently elected to tribal council for Cherokee Nation in Southern California, so I'm super excited. We did one of our impromptu events last week. I don't know if any of you made it, but it was beautiful. And Shauna, I'm looking at you. We want to do something in North County next, but we were at Viejas last weekend and we did a grandparents' day, books and breakfast, and just that's what we want to do in this cohort too, of just share ways that we can engage our tribal communities so they have belonging and they feel excited to come on campus, and the programs and the supports there for them honor them and their language and their culture. And I know we all can share stories because we've all been involved, and I know you each are advocates for your Native American students and tribal communities, and there's a lot of battles that we have out there, and many of you I've talked many hours, right, at length with this, but I want us to celebrate the brilliance that's out there. And I'm just looking at the people in here, especially our tribal education directors. They are brilliant. They are doing incredible work with our Native youth. And I feel like it goes unnoticed a lot of times within our tribal communities and also in our district. So I hope they get to shine and share their stories too in this cohort. So I'm just so excited to be here. This actually, I don't know how it goes with all of you, your level of interest in terms of how motivated you are every day to go to work, but there are days that are hard to go to work, right? But today was a day I was looking forward to, because I was looking forward to this, of being around people that have same interest and motivation and just learning from others and thinking about ways that we can work together to increase legislation or learn from each other and replicate things that are successful for Native American students and families. And I'll turn it over to Taylor.
Awesome. Hard to follow two amazing introductions. But my name's Taylor. I'm an enrolled citizen in the San Domingo Pueblo, located in New Mexico. And I started at San Diego County Office of Ed in last November. So it's almost been a year, not quite, working in our Native American department under Stacy, working on the two grants, our model curriculum and our Native college pathways grant. So it's very in line with what my passion is, which is just increasing access for our Native students in terms of college. And prior to this role, I was actually a Native American admissions counselor for the University of California, Irvine. So always happy to help and talk like college pathways or admissions. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me in regards to college. And yeah, very excited to be here and looking forward to a wonderful cohort and just learning alongside of all of you, and very excited to hear from you all too. So thank you.
Awesome. Oh, where did it go? Hold on, got hidden. Okay, here we go. So again, we're not doing icebreakers every session, but we're going to do a couple icebreakers and get to know you activities. So I'm going to turn over to Taylor that's going to guide us through this activity.
Yeah, so thank you. First off, if anyone recognizes the characters, one of my favorite TV shows, actually my favorite TV show, you can put the name of the TV show in the chat. But this is really just like a brief check-in. If you look at the photos, yes, awesome. If you look at the photos, you can kind of see and kind of associate how you're feeling today with a number, and maybe drop the number in the chat. And that way we can kind of get a pulse check on how everyone's feeling coming into today's session. A lot of people guessed res dogs, of course. Yeah, obviously a lot of fours, because I agree it is hot. Tired probably after a long day. Threes, fours. Awesome. Some ones. We really have the wide spectrum here. Awesome. 5, 1. Awesome. I think personally I'm a 3. I think that if anyone's seen Res Dogs, that episode specifically, um, yeah, one of my favorites, but awesome.
We have the NIEA convention coming up soon for number 3.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you all for taking time to do that. So we'll kind of move into another introduction activity. We will kind of give everyone 20 seconds to introduce themselves. So if you can come off mute, if you're not sharing your video, if you can share your video, and just kind of briefly go through your first and last name, where you work, and what you're hoping to learn from this cohort. And if you can keep it to 20 seconds, that would be great. We do have a couple other things to get to, and I'll just kind of call on folks as I see them on my screen. So first, we'll go with Cindy Summers.
Hi, Manahu, Inaniane, Cindy Summers, Numunu, Payahupawe, Salamatinu, Nukimadu. My name is Cindy Summers. I am Paiute from the Owens Valley. Payahunadu means where the water flows. Where do I work? I can't see the little marks, but I work for Bishop Unified School District. I'm the Native American liaison at the high school. We have about 150 Native American youth enrolled in our public high school here, and probably another 15 to 20 in some of our alternative education high school programs as well. Give me a hint on the other prompts. I can't see it right now.
That's okay. The last one was, what are you hoping to get out of the cohort?
Interested in working with everybody, meeting some new faces, getting new ideas, and working together to see what we can all come up with, or what's gonna be the new, for all of our students and whatnot. Excited about that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll go ahead and go to Beverly. I know she was maybe trying to transition, so we can also circle back. Beverly, are you here? All right. No worries. We can go to Dawn is next on my screen.
Hello, my name is Dawn Corliss Angolia. I currently work at Verona it's a homeschooling program. So I am at school site called a teacher, but I'm actually more like the homeschooling tutor. What I hope to gain out of joining this cohort is maybe new ideas or some ways that I can be more successful to serve my students on their pathways, hopefully encouraging more education, but also maybe helping them to develop some passions in their lives and becoming lifelong learners.
Great, thank you. We'll go to Holly.
Hello, my name is Holly Pollocky, and I am the principal at Campo Elementary School. And I'm super excited to learn from you all and how to serve our Native students better.
Great, thank you. Gretchen.
Hi, sorry I don't have my camera on. I just got a new desktop at work, so we're still trying to figure that all out. But yeah, I'm with Bishop Unified School District, Assistant Superintendent of Business and Administrative Services. We have a bigger Native American population, Paiute, Shoshone, and just learning to, how we can serve them better.
Great, thank you. Athena. Sorry, I don't know if I'm mispronouncing your name.
That's okay. Althea, yeah.
Althea, thank you.
I'm Althea Jones. I'm the community school coordinator and school social worker for Northern United Humboldt Charter School up in very rural Humboldt County. I'm hoping to gain leadership skills to better support my Native American youth um, and to just practical skills for kind of creating a more culturally responsive learning environment that is actually meaningful to my students and helps make them want to come to school and feel like what they do matters and is important.
Awesome. Thank you. Julie.
There's not more than one Julie, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then I'll take this Julie. So
Perfect.
I'm Julie Dome, and I am the education coordinator for La Posta Band of Mission Indians. We have our La Posta Learning Center up and running. And I'm going to come into this exactly like I did with the 4 freedoms, and I'm going to just be open to all kinds of learning and all kinds of working with each other and seeing what we can come up with.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. Greg, nice to see you. You're next to my screen.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Greg Hinchliff. I'm zooming in from Payamkawitcham land. I work at Bonsall High School, and I'm super excited to be involved in this collaboration here. I'm seeing some familiar faces, both old and new that I haven't connected with in a while, and the topic seems super compelling. So working together with everybody is going to be the real highlight that I'm looking forward to.
Thanks, Greg. Chris, you're next. Chris Torres.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Torres, and I am zooming in from Miwok and Yoku't territory out here in Stockton. I work in Stockton Unified and Stagg High School in Stockton Unified. And so what I'm hoping to get from the cohort is just learning with you all, and you know, I'm a Native American Indian Studies teacher here at Stagg, and so as I build this course, I'm excited to you know, just take in, you know, new information and then put it to practice with my students, and that way I can serve them, you know, the best way possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Gretchen Murphy.
Hi, I'm the other Gretchen in the group, and I'm kind of stoked that there's 2 of us because I never have anybody else with my name. I work for Santee School District in San Diego County. I'm a vice principal in our district, but I'm also the chair of our diversity committee within the school district. So what I am looking for in this cohort is just opportunity to learn more about Native Americans and how we as a district and me personally can better engage our families and our schools.
Awesome. Thank you. Christina.
Miawen, Haminat, Hakap, hi, my name is Christina Alanis. I am Serrano and Kauai, both. I'm zooming in from Kauai land out here on the Morongo Indian Reservation up here in Riverside County. Born and raised and still live here. And I'm excited to be here with y'all. I'm a 4th grade teacher in Palm Springs for Palm Springs Unified School District. I've been teaching since I came in late to teaching because I didn't have a great school experience, but I think most of us who you know, have a similar background have you know, it was rough. So anyway, I'm excited to learn from y'all. I'm glad that I decided to become a teacher because here I am in my 14th year. I am in elementary, but I did get my degree, my undergrad in history, and I did get my master's in education. And so I do plan on moving into higher ed. And so everything was working in a great way and coming together. And so I'm excited to be here with y'all. And I think I have the same energy as Julie was saying, just learning from y'all and sharing space with you. And I'm excited to see what we all bring to this transformational moment in education. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. We'll move to Nabila.
Oh, it is unmuted? Hi, I'm Nabila Kalu. I work for Saquon. I am the lead teacher for our K through 5th program, as well as our research specialist. I oversee our special education from infant through early adults. And just like everyone else, just excited to learn with and from each other.
Thank you. We'll go to, is it M. Underwood?
Hi, my name's Michaela Underwood. I work with the Pechanga Band of Indians as their TANF activities / education coordinator. I provide tutoring services for the kids here on the res and a bunch of other stuff, kind of a glorified school counselor. But I'm really excited to be a part of this and just learn from everybody and gain some new perspectives and see how we can help just not only kids on our reservation, but other kids in our community as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go over to Tanya.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tanya Cuero. I am a lead tutor here at Campo Education Center for the Campo Band of Mission Indians. And I'm so honored and excited to learn from everyone from this cohort. I love reading. I've seen the list. I'm so excited. And I just want to learn from everyone. And thank you for having me.
Thanks, Tanya. We'll go to Vanessa Hogan.
Hi guys, I'm Vanessa Hogan. I also work for Pechanga's TANF program. I am their cultural activities coordinator. So I'm a credentialed teacher. I work at our school, which is the Chamakilawish Pechanga School. It means our future. We are mommy and me through 5th grade. In addition to that, I do a lot of community workshops with the whole community. I work with our local TVUSD district, with our local middle school and high school with their Indigenous clubs on campus, and just really excited to be able to collaborate with everybody here.
Awesome, thank you. We'll go to Charmaine.
Hi, I'm Charmaine Osuna. I work at Warner Unified School District as a 2nd and 3rd grade teacher. I'm really excited to be here and get more resources to best serve my students and just our community as a whole.
Awesome, thank you. And then next we'll go to Kristen Nunnally.
Yeah, that's right. Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm a site project coordinator at Owens Valley Career Development Center. It's a Native American organization and I work under TANF. So I teach prevention like classes, and I work with youth, and I'm super new to it. I just recently started working with youth. So I'm learning, and from this, I plan to get like cultural competency, leadership skills, and just learn from everybody.
Great, thank you. Next we can go to Adina Alvarez.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adina Alvarez. I'm from the Fort Yuma Coxan Indian Tribe and Mesa Grande Band of Indians. I work at San Pasqual Valley Unified School District. I am the district community liaison for the entire school district. What I hope to gain from here is resources, networking, and collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we'll go to Katie.
Hey, I'm Katie Roach. I teach at the Valley Center Palma Unified School District at the high school. I'm also a resource specialist. I teach right now, I have 11th, 12th, and 9th graders. We serve 4 local reservations. I'm really hoping to learn more about implementing books and stuff so my students can see more of themselves and what we read, because there is sadly a complete dearth of applicable and relatable reading stuff for my students. So thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Next we can go to Caroline Sanchez.
Hello, my name is Caroline Sanchez Carcamo.
and I work at Bonzo Unified School District. I work at Vivian Banks Paula in Paula. It's a charter school. And I'm just really excited. Last year, we were able to use the information that we had, and we went from an English language advisory committee that I usually go to because I'm an ELD teacher. And then we created an NLAC, which is a Native Learners Advisory Committee. So that was really exciting. I'm trying to just keep implementing things in the school and trying to communicate with my principal. I know some good news is that we actually got a classroom open for counseling support at Paula. It's through the Paula Social Services. This was new this week, so we're really excited. So thank you for inviting me to this class because I'm a sponge and I try and take it all in, and I want to share ideas as well so that we can continue to grow in our schools.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Next we can go to Michelle Costa.
Hi, my name is Michelle Costa. I am a fourth grade teacher at Soulsbyville School, which is in rural part of Tuolumne County. Last year, I participated, our County Office of Ed did an Indigenous People Learning session. It was 4 different classes. We have 2 local Miwok tribe in our area. They came and spoke, and just trying to give us general ed teachers more information to bring back to our school sites. So I saw this opportunity. I was blown away by how much I didn't know and how much I wanted to bring back to not only my classroom, since I teach 4th grade, but my school site. And they're doing the learning sessions again this year. So I'm going to be involved with that again and hoping to take some of what I learned here back to the county office as well. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Next we'll go to Lynn Budd.
Hello, I'm Lynn Budd. I too am at Valley Center Palma District at the high school. I am a resource specialist as well. With social science, I have world, US history, and government econ. And I really want to learn as much as I can. I started teaching in Hawaii and did a similar professional development out there with the native population. And I'm really curious to see how those two cross. And then, of course, I want to be able to bring a lot of the curriculum into my classroom and teach a lot about their background, our students' background and whatnot. And yeah, thanks for letting us be here.
Thank you for sharing. Next, we can go to Rosa Hernandez.
Hi there, how's everybody doing? I hope you had a great day. I am Rosa Hernandez Ellen, and I teach at the Valley Center Middle School, Social Studies, and I'm just excited and eager to be here and take it all in and learn from everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Rosa. And then next we can go to Delia. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you and nice to see everybody. My name is Delia Vasquez. I'm the Title VI liaison for San Jacinto Unified School District. And I am just excited to be here and learn from everybody, from the speakers, and to gain leadership skills to bring back to our students and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And then next we can go to Megan Meredith.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan. I am an 11th grade humanities teacher in Escondido Unified. I'm so excited to be here. I can't sit still. I'm so excited, but I'm excited to bring back new things directly into my classroom to my students. And so my Indigenous students can feel valued and a sense of belonging. And I'm just really excited to learn about all of the resources that you guys are building for community to create and foster belonging. So thank you so much for having me.
Great, thanks, Megan. Next we can go to Casey Reck.
Hi, I'm Casey Reck. I teach English at San Ynez High School, basically across the street from the Chumash Reservation. So I am excited to learn for ways to better serve my Chumash population. And then also I'm excited for support and ideas and resources to do a better job teaching Native Lit.
Great, thank you for sharing. Next we can go to Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Next we can go to Emmy. Uh-oh, I think
Is it Amy?
it's I think you're muted, Emmy.
Is it Amy?
Oh, no, sorry, Emmy. Emmy
Oh.
Carter. No. Okay. I think she's gonna maybe go in a little bit, but we can go to you, Amy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Hi, my name is Amy Mahavan. I'm the school counselor for Clover Flat in Mountain Empire School District, which is on Kumyai land. Trying to get resources, learn as much as I can. I follow Stacy's emails. One highlight that we had this year is that we were able to order the native, I think it was the Native Ways of Knowing, your booklet, Stacy. So we were able to get that library section set up in our library. So I'm just trying to learn and just get information, collaborate. Um, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Amy. Sorry about the confusion.
It's okay.
Thank you for sharing. Emmy, is your sound back? Okay.
Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. How come you, everyone? My name is Emmy Gregor. I'm the education coordinator at Rincon Indian Education Center, and I am also a grant assistant at Palmer College for an upcoming Native Student Success Program. So I'm very humbled to be a part of this cohort. And something I'm hoping to gain, I think someone mentioned it, I want to be able to express more to higher ed faculty how important Native education is and how we can make it more equitable. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then Brenda, nice to see you. We'll jump over to you.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Brenda Garcia. I'm the Director of Community Services for Viejas Band of Kumeyaay Indians, which encompasses education and recreation. I have been working there for 25 years. I know I always tell people I started when I was 7, but they don't buy it. I'm excited to get to know everyone and network and hear best practices. What are you doing so that we can get some ideas and get inspired? So it's nice meeting you.
Thanks, Brenda. Oh, and then another Amy. Sorry, there's very similar names. Amy Booth. Thank you.
Hi, folks. My name is Amy Booth. I'm a high school teacher at San Pasqual High School in Escondido. I teach U.S. history and Chicano studies. I'm really excited as I hear from everyone. I know there's going to be a lot of community building. I thought this was just another teaching workshop, and I'm so excited that it's so much more. I am always looking for ideas that I can implement in my classroom, but I'm really excited to be here.
So thank you for sharing. And then everyone's moved on my screen, but I think we're at Sarah Wesner.
Hi. I'm Sarah Mansfield, and I work at Montgomery High School. It's in southern San Diego County, and I teach U.S. history. I also teach ethnic studies. It's my 4th year of teaching ethnic studies here at our site, and I'm just excited to learn more, to read some of the literature that I've seen and some of the books that I have actually, and I haven't gotten around to reading them. So I'm just excited to explore a lot of those resources and just expand my own knowledge of California Native American history and just history of colonialism in general. And I just really always get so much out of attending these sessions put on by San Diego County of Ed and Stacy Block, and even have heard from, been to a lot of sessions and heard even from Nicole before in her lectures. And yeah, I'm just super excited to be here and learn more with all of you. So thanks for having me.
Great, thanks, Sarah. We'll go to Gabrielle.
Hello, Hoyoshnim Gabrielle, and Yana Hoyoshnim Momosu, Paanim Nwich Kings River, Chipishnim Trinamni. Translation: Hello, government name is Gabrielle. My Inyana name is Momosu. My land is east of the Kings River. That's where my village resided, and I'm from the Trinamni tribe. I currently work as a tribal liaison with Norfolk Rancheria Tribal TANF, where we assist our students that are in Norfolk in Giannis. And what I'm hoping to get out of this cohort is to decolonize education and also to find new ways to implement our after-school program. And Chishma, thank you.
Thank you. We can go to Michelle Lira.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Lira. I am I'm with Fresno Unified School District as the school and community liaison. And I want to thank everyone for the invite. Stacy, thank you again for putting on another amazing year of all the different workshops. And today what I want to get out is to learn some more skills to bring back to our district and to my tutors there at the Fresno district office. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Next, we can go to Riza.
Hi, my name is Riza Eusebio. I'm a fourth grade teacher with San Diego Unified. I'm in Mira Mesa. It's a high, we have a lot of Asian population. Unfortunately, we don't have that many Native people, but I am excited to learn, especially with fourth grade standards being California history, California Native Americans. So I'm excited to be here and seeing all of you, and I can definitely learn from those of you who are actually Native American and Indigenous. So I'm really excited and I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Next we can go to Renee Nealon.
Hi there, my name is Renee Nealon. I'm a fourth and fifth grade teacher in Petaluma at McDowell Elementary. It's my birthday, so I'm here with you guys celebrating. Yay! I joined this cohort because this summer I had a chance to listen to Nicole Lim speak at my Cultural Pedagogy Institute at Sonoma County Office of Education, and I've found what I didn't know. I didn't know a lot of things. There's a lot of things I don't know about, and so being a teacher, I want to know more about Indigenous cultures and how I can support tribes in the area.
Great, thank you.
Oh my God, Renee, did you know that I went to McDowell Elementary, kindergarten through sixth grade?
You're kidding! Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Funny. Awesome. Thanks for being here.
So I'm already making connections. That's wonderful. Next we'll go to Shauna. Hi, Shauna.
Miriam, Notung Shannon Bohorkis non Payom Koish Palanai. My name is Shannon Bohorkis and I am Luceño from Paula. I am the youth coordinator with Palma Tribal Youth. We are 9th through freshman through college. We're on the Palma Uima Band of Indians. I also sit as a co-chair for our Title VI committee at our Valley Center Palma Unified School District. So it's very nice to see so many of our district educators here on this session. I help facilitate our Native Club at the high school as well. And yes, I'm just excited to be here to share with the group and to be a resource for any of our teachers or our advocates for our tribal children in the Valley Center Palma Unified School District. I'm always available. My co-chair, Katrina Quixote, as well. And just thank you everyone for coming. Thank you.
Thanks, Shauna. We'll move to Ali Amberg.
Hello, my name is Ali Amberg. I'm coming here from Payahunadu, Owens Valley, and I teach at Big Pine Elementary School, the sixth grade teacher. And I'm looking forward to learning from all of you and bringing more resources into my classroom. Thank you for having me.
Great, thanks, Ali. Next we'll go to Scott. Hi, Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott Banker. I work with Oxnard Union High School District. I'm a social science teacher, and I'm grateful to have this opportunity and learn from everybody. Great opportunity.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Next we'll go to Kim James. That's okay. I see you're trying to unmute. We can come back when I see you unmute. Yeah, no worries. We can go to Mindy.
Hello, my name is Mindy Maldonado. I work in the Mountain Empire Unified School District in East San Diego, and I work at the Campo Kumeyaay Head Start. I'm the lead teacher here. We are on Kumeyaay land, and we are surrounded by the Campo Reservation, Manzanito Reservation, and La Posta. So those children are represented in my classroom, and I would just like to learn anything I can to help support the kids and their families and make the class more comfortable for them. That's all.
Great. Thank you, Mindy.
Thanks.
Kim, it looks like you're unmuted. We can.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Hi, my name is Kim Hymas. I'm the site secretary here at Campo Elementary, again in the Mountain Empire Unified School District. Very excited to be part of this. I'm new to this position. We have someone here that was in this position for over a decade, so it's a big transition for us. I'm so excited to learn. I also see a bunch of people that I communicate with via email, so it's nice to see them in person on this and get to know them and learn more about our cultures in our area.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. And then we can go to Beverly. Nice to see you.
I knew Taylor was going to call on me while I was driving, so I apologize for earlier.
okay.
I just happened to be number 2. But anyways, my name is Beverly Jimenez. I'm the Educational Services Coordinator at Lakeside Union School District in East County, San Diego. And so I'm excited to be here, actually. I really didn't know what to expect, and I love the fact that I'm surrounded by people from all different roles. So I know I'm going to learn a lot, and I look forward to learning how I can better support our Native American youth here at Lakeside. Thanks.
Thanks, Beverly. Sorry about that. I'm glad you're able to go a little later. Next we'll go to Gisela.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gisela Gaona. I work as the Ethnic Studies TOSA for Kern High School District here in Bakersfield, California on Yokuts land. And really what I want to hope to get out of this is just building more capacity to implement more content into our ethnic studies curriculum for my district.
Thank you. Next we can go to Sarah Hernandez.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Sorry about the video. I take care of my mom. She has dementia, so she's constantly like right next to me. Anyway, my name's Sarah Hernandez. I am a Pasco Yaqui tribal member from Tucson, Arizona. I reside on the Viejas Indian Reservation. I know Brenda well. Hi, Brenda. Let's see. I've just finished my 20th year of being the chairwoman of Alpine Indian Education for the Alpine Union School District. In those 20 years, I have traveled around the county to do area presentations on who we are and what land we're on, and I focus on all the reservations, and then I'm an advocate for the oh my goodness, the other population that's out there, the urban reservation or the urban population. We have over 30,000 American Indians living here in San Diego County. So we have a lot of culture. I also am the tribal liaison for the Harm Reduction Coalition of San Diego. We actually are we put the first 3 Narcan vending machines on the first 3 reservations in the entire nation. So we're kind of bridging everybody together. And then I also do recovery stuff. I've been in recovery. I just celebrated 20 years in recovery. And so I've been doing Natives in Recovery and Native Strong for quite a long time as well. And I'm also involved in the tribal voc rehab area up here. So many hats. I love my people. I love all of them, whether they're reservation urban or not. I love to do presentations to anybody that wants them around the county. Right now I'm getting together a presentation for a huge company that called me, and I'm going to do their tribal training. So I love this, and I can't wait to connect with everybody. And thank you for letting me be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, and congratulations. We'll go to Alina Gonzalez.
Hi there, my name is Elena Gonzalez. I am a professor at Palomar College. I believe that it is very important to represent our underrepresented students, and that's why I'm here to learn and see what I can take back into my classroom.
Great, thank you for sharing. We'll go to Priscilla Ortiz.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Priscilla Ortiz. I'm Ipai Kumiai from the San Isabel Reservation, and then I am Payam Kuicham from the Rincon Reservation. My grandmother is Gig Duro, and my grandfather is John Lachapa. I work a little bit of everywhere. Right now, I'm working with California Indian Manpower Consortium to host a series of social justice workshops on the res for youth. But before that, I was working for Kumeyaay Community College, hosting their summer series workshops for youth programs, tribal members, everything else. But I'm excited to take this course and continue my learning and share what I learned with the youth programs that I work with, and kind of just funnel that education right back to the youth. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Okay, people are moving on the screen, so I'm not, if I missed anyone, has anyone shared? All right, sorry, has everyone shared? All right, I think that was everyone. Thank you all so much for taking time and introducing yourself, and it's so wonderful to hear about all the amazing work that you all are doing. So hopefully we keep building on these connections, and I'll pass it back over to Stacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is like the one time in the course we want to make sure that we hear from everyone. You'll be doing breakout rooms and working in smaller groups, but we do want to do some opportunities for you to learn from one another. But for the sake of time for tonight, we are going to do another activity called That's Me, but we're going to hold that on for the next session. Taylor's going to be sending you a slide that looks something like this. So you'll get an example of why did you sign up, and then how do you support tribal communities, just so we can make a slide deck of everybody and we have a picture on there. And I was thinking now too, if you want to share your email, that would be amazing too. That way people kind of know who everyone is and you can continue to reach out. So she'll send you a slide, and that's your one of your homework assignments is just to make this slide similar like this, where from the template she sends to you, you just sharing that, and then we'll have a master deck that we put up on the resource page. So we'll save That's Me for next time, just to get through everything. And I think you're okay because we got a chance to hear quite a bit from everyone, which was awesome. We were going to do a breakout room too, but we're going to jump through and go into logistics if you guys are okay with that. So I want to pull this up. So excited to share our website, and Taylor will put that back in in the chat. We want to talk about logistics, and I have some things on here just to go through, and we'll send a reminder email. We're so excited about this cohort. We have been sharing many times that it's great to have professional learning, but you need to have compensation for those that are taking the time to professionally learn, because we know that you all have other commitments with your time. So we hope that it benefits you to be able to be paid for your time to continue to grow, just like in any profession. Having that time to reflect and learn and collaborate with one another, it's just continuing work and allowing you to hopefully focus on things that you're really excited to learn more about. So the way that this is set up within our grant, I'll share on the website here. It has almost all the information that you need to know. We have our partnerships on here. What you will receive, and we're looking for everybody to be present at all of the sessions. If you need to miss, we can only have you miss 2, and then you can.
Okay.
There she is.
Sorry about that. That's fun, right?
No worries.
Mike, is my husband on the internet, right? Okay. And I just want to make sure it's still recording. 1 second.
It shows on my Zoom, it is recording.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So just logistics with this. Sorry if anybody wants to mute. Hopefully it's not me. Okay. You will be paid $1,500 by attending the sessions. There is only one assignment that Taylor will go through with you. So I want to take off any pressure if people are feeling like there's going to be tests or quizzes. There's nothing like that. There'll be some survey questions that we ask just to put that in the grant reporting to show what people are learning or what they're excited to learn more about. But you will get paid for compensation for attending this. And also we'll share with you too, if you want to take this for college credit, we'll pay your tuition for that. We also have the books being shipped out to you. So Birch Bark will be shipping them out to you. One, we want to see who shows up for the class today, and we're so excited. I think everyone is here, which is amazing. And then there were 2 books on back order. So they're pulling that all together for you. You will get a box with all of the books in it. And for the next session, until you have a copy of We Are the Land, we will get electronic copies and put it on the website and email it out to you. So if there's any readings that we'd really like you to preview, just so you have a grounding in what the guest speaker is going to talk about, it'll be shared electronically with you and on this website. So we'll send that out to you. We're hoping that this makes it easy. So we didn't do a Canvas course or anything like that. We thought a simple website is the best way to do it. This has the course description. So one, as you could see, everybody is from all over the state of California. We're so excited that you're here. You're going to hear a lot of commonality of teachers, administrators, librarians, tribal education staff. And one of the focus areas that we did want to have is that in 2025, districts have a mandate of putting in ethnic studies courses at the high school level. So you heard a lot of teachers sharing that they are teaching ethnic studies or developing ethnic studies curriculum. So part of this is one, developing resources and training for you if you are teaching ethnic studies. And then for those also teaching, have community partnerships for you, because that's really the best way to teach you the ethnic studies, is bringing in the community to co-teach it with you. So we'll have that set up. And then of course, for those that aren't teaching ethnic studies, that's completely fine. It's providing an overview of the history of different themes within California Indian education, and also sharing some amazing resources across the states, learning from tribal ed directors, and also being able to connect with different tribes within your area and create a resource around that. So we have on here who should attend, that's on the website. We are excited. We have a great diverse group of professionals that are on here working in tribal communities or working in districts or working directly with families on community engagement. Your facilitators for tonight are myself, Nikki, and Taylor. And if you ever have any questions about anything, feel free to email any of this. If you're going to be absent, we'll send that out in an email, but it'll be Taylor that you're reaching out to if you have an absence, so she can track that and let you know how you can make it up in a reflection. We talk through our partnerships, and then we also have our class schedule here. So these are the dates that we are meeting. It's on Tuesdays, 4 to 7 p.m. And I just want to take you through an overview, and then Taylor's going to go through a couple more logistical things with you. So we're going to meet again on September 24th in 2 weeks. And it will be William Bauer as our guest speaker that night. We'll have some resources and videos for you. So basically, before you come into it, we'd love for you to review the resource, the videos, and we're not having you read the whole book. If you want to read the whole book, you can, but Nikki's going to be pulling out certain chapters, or maybe there's an article she'd like you to read or watch a video. So it's not going to be too much that you have to do on your own time, but we'd love for you to take that time, ground yourself. I heard some people say, I have the books, but I haven't read it. So allowing you to really think about that so you can engage with the guest speaker and be able to ask additional questions that you might have. On the 15th of October, we had to kind of take a little bit break. So in between the 24th and the 15th, it's the National Indian Education Association Convention out in Palm Springs. So we're excited to be there. So we didn't do anything that week. So there's a little bit of gap, but you're going to be learning from John Tipiconic, just incredible presenter. He was the director of the Office of Indian Education at the federal level, the highest level that you can hold within Indian education in the nation. He also helped develop Native American Studies program at ASU and works with tribal communities across the nation. So he'll be going through and talking about policy. He really is the expert in terms of American Indian policy, also the history of Indian education. He'll take you through that, answer questions. He is just an incredibly sweet, gentle, wise mentor. If I'm ever having a hard day, like, he is one of the best people to call. And I think you're going to love learning from him. So you'll learn from John. And then on the 29th, we have a great speaker. She is not American Indian herself, but she did a great book, California, a Slave State. It came out last year. So Jean will be taking you through and talking about modern slavery that still exists within our state at a level, and then go through the history of it. And Nikki will do also a follow-up lecture on this, on the economics of genocide, take you into some like really great discussions and reflections on understanding extermination, indenture, and erasure, and having that understanding of decolonization and reconciliation. And then November, Native American Heritage Month, Dina Gilio Whitaker will be sharing 2 books with you. So one, she'll be going through environmental and Indigenous environmental justice with As Long as Grass Grows. So you'll receive that book too. And she'll go through a couple of chapters and highlight it. And then she'll move into, on the 19th of November, because of Thanksgiving, we did those weeks kind of back to back. She'll be going through and talking about her other book, All the Real Indians Died Off and 50 Other Myths About Native Americans. So she'll be talking about cultural appropriation and also going into identities, diversity, complexity. She writes really amazing, very easy to read it. She's a journalist too, so just love learning from Dina. And then if you haven't learned from Debbie Reese, she'll be going through and talking about ways that you can incorporate children's literature, She also co-edited an Indigenous Peoples History of the United States for young people. So she'll share that book, and we also have some recordings that we'll share with you too from her guest series and lecture. And then if you want to see Debbie this Thursday, she's doing a speaker series that we'll talk about in a little bit on selecting books around boarding school area. So she'll be going through boarding school era and telling you books that you can use, ways that you can help teach and understand the boarding school era, and also the impact on families today, and also ways that we can bring that forward and provide healing and support, and also know what the effects are from the boarding school era. On December 17th, which that week prior, on December 13th, we'll share more with you, but we will have an in-person learning on December 13th. If you'd like to come, we'll open up to anybody here, and we'll pay your registration if you'd like to attend. It'll be the California Indian Education for All Summit, and that will be hosted at Harris on Rincon end. So right after that, on the 17th, our next speaker series is with Dr. Prophet. Jolie and Nikki will be going through data sovereignty, going through the report of the American Indian Education Report for California, and just talking about a lot of resources that they have of working with tribal communities and tribal government. When we come back in the new year, you'll be learning from Teach Rock. So Rumble, there's also another great lesson that came out on Autumn Peltier that will take you through and go through social emotional learning, best practices in Native education, and incorporating music and art within Teach Rock. And then we have Karina Gold and Nikki that are going through place-based learning, civics engagement, and community service learning. We also are trying to bring in other presenters from Northern California with the Segurite Land Trust to share resources and their story in terms of doing cultural and community engagement. And then our final celebration will be a colloquium online and sharing. And we were talking about ways that we can also do some gathering. If you're up at California Native American Day later this month and you want to get together, we'll have some sessions that, you know, if you want to meet for coffee in the morning, or if you want to meet at a happy hour, we can organize some of these at events that we know people are going to be at. But for the colloquium, you're just going to be sharing your resources. So it'll be a really nice celebration where you share either your lesson plan or a resource that you've developed that you'd like to share with others on Native American history. So Taylor will talk about that in just a second. Your course text that you're going to be receiving, almost all of these you'll receive. There might be one or two that are out of print, so we'll get you the electronic version of it, but these are the books that will be sent to you, and the grant pays for that. So they're sending you all the books and resources. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but we have a way of putting up resources on here for you to share them with you. So we'll continue to go through and share these with you over time. The one thing I did want to highlight is this resource book right here. If you click on it, Taylor will take you through that in a second. We're going to do a break in just a moment, and we'll take you through a couple of resources and then turn it over to Nikki to begin our lecture. But I wanted to share this one resource before we go on break. We have an amazing session for Native Ways of Knowing. Basically, many of the authors that we really wanted to have opportunities for teachers, community members, Title VI leaders, and families to learn from, they all said yes when we asked them. So this, you'll see, are similar. If you missed a session, you can engage, or if you want to see that person present again, it will be a different lecture that they're doing in these series, but you'll get a chance to learn from them. So we have about 20 different presenters. Debbie's doing a lot of different series. We're focusing on American Indian boarding schools, Native youth and their hair. We have Laurel Goodluck, Cynthia Leach Smith, my favorite artists. We're so excited. Michaela Goad, Deborah Miranda, Katja Risling-Baldi, William Bauer doing 2 sessions, Debbie Reese, Dina Gilio Whitaker, Carol Lindstrom, who will also be the keynote at the California Indian Ed for All Summit on December 13th, which you'll get more information about. And then Monique Gray Smith, Laurel Goodluck has Fierce Aunties coming out on in April 15th. So she's gonna highlight this book on May 8th. And then we have 2 other people that we are signing right now. So we'll announce them as soon as we have the signed contract, but it's an amazing year for this. And this is not part of your required course, but we hope that you attend any of these of authors you want to learn from. These are very low key. It's online webinars that we have that last about an hour and 15 minutes with the keynote author, and then we just share resources from them. So I know that was a lot of information, but everything is here on this website in terms of logistics. And just a couple of things we want to go through, and we'll type all of this up in an email and send it to you. But in terms of things for you to think about, just be on time, stay involved within the whole time if you can. If it works to have your camera on, we know many of you are in remote places. I get it. It's hard to keep your camera on, but definitely when you go into breakout rooms, please have your camera on so people can engage with you if possible. And then respect and honor other people's learning. Everybody comes in with knowledge at different levels, and we are excited that everybody signed up for this. So just being respectful and being able to share information, being able to allow people to process information that they could be learning for the first time, and allowing for that. I'm going to have Taylor talk to you really quickly before we go into break. So she's going to talk to you about the expectations for the lesson plan, and also talk to you about the course reading resources and a shared folder too.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm sharing the website again, in case you haven't been able to log on. I know there was some folks who said it was taking them to Teams, so you might need to just type it into your browser. In terms of course readings, like Stacy mentioned, most of the books will be sent to you, and if not, we'll be sending out a digital copy of perhaps like a chapter or a section of the book we want you to focus on. And then something, if you scroll all the way down on the website, you'll see we have for the lesson plan sharing out. Sorry, it's a little bit, I think you skipped it. We have on February 4th, we're going to be sharing out our lesson plans. So again, we don't want you to like get stressed at this moment regarding that, but just know that throughout the process we'll be supporting you, and this is just going to be a really great opportunity for us to kind of come together and share out what we've learned along the way, and then developing a lesson plan that aligns with that. So we're really excited for that, and definitely mark that on your calendars now. And then in terms of creating a shared folder, that is also going to be coming out as well. So you'll receive that in an email. It'll essentially be a shared folder that you'll be able to upload any resources, readings, any videos that you want to share with us and other participants, so people can kind of have access to that. It's kind of going to be like a collaborative space for people to kind of share resources. So I think, you know, I already see that happening in the chat already. So it's really exciting to know that we're kind of going to be using our collective power to come together and find and share resources that maybe you're already using. And then I can go over the resource guide as well really quickly, a little bit more in depth. So we just updated our 24-25 resource flipping book. If you haven't seen it already, it is beautiful. It's also hyperlinked, so it makes it really easy to kind of click through the different resources and kind of get more information. It's hyperlinked and there's a lot of QR codes. So again, it just makes it really easy to access the information. And this is just a really good place for you to go and see the different American Indian education projects that we're working on, different networking opportunities, grants that we're using to support collaboration with tribal leaders and educators. And we're also looking forward to highlighting that at the NIA convention next month. So yeah, definitely take time to go through the flipping book, which I can also drop the link in the chat. And then we can briefly go through the calendar of events as well. It's also in the flipping guide, but we have a website that goes through our 24-25 calendar of events. And so this, if you're kind of curious about the different workshops, conferences, this year we included powwows that are happening. If you know, it's powwow season right now in California, in Southern California. So this is kind of like a one-stop shop to see what's happening and different events that are taking place. And again, also hyperlinked to make it really easy to access flyers if you want to distribute them or register for events. So another really good resource to kind of make sure that you like bookmark on your desktop.
I want to highlight two events. So one on the calendar, and again, all of this is on your CIEL cohort website at the bottom where it has these resources. So we put the two right here. So this one book has everything in it if you ever, and we just continue to update it with our flipping book link. But two things I want to highlight because they were actually requests from people did want resources on boarding school. So again, this Thursday with Debbie Reese, if you want to learn more about the boarding school era, please sign up for that. That's free. And then for those that are Title VI leaders, you asked for a training to be able to learn from other Title VI leaders and TOSAs in other states. So we got the yes from the Title VI TOSAs. We'll be recording it too, but on the 19th, we're doing a really nice overview of best practices up in Washington State with Bethel Unified School District, and also a few other districts that work with Muckleshoot too, that are highlighting their Title VI. We're going to move into break. Before we do that, we want to share one thing, and we'll come back to others. So we have not shared this publicly, but we want to share it now and celebrate it. We received information last week from the National Indian Education Association that California Indian Ed for All was selected as the Founders Award, which is like a lifetime achievement for organizations to be able to do cultural freedom and social justice with districts and tribal communities. We were very, very excited about that. They give out one of these awards nationally every year. I think we're still in shock by that, but if you are coming out to convention, please be there on Thursday. There's a luncheon that we're going to have and celebrate, and I'm sure we will have a nice celebration that evening too. That any of you want to join, that would be great too. So we're excited about that. We're going to move into a break right now because we shared this information. We'll come back to that in a little bit, but let's go into break. And when we come back from break, we'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back at 5:38, and then we'll have Nikki go through and do some information and go through and share some resources with us tonight.
Interrupt my Zooms. But I want to just kind of contextualize a lot of the discussion and topics we're going to be covering over the next several sessions around kind of this big picture of Native American history and policy. And I think the best way to think about it is that there's some fundamental terminologies, and I often like to refer to them as legal fiction, because depending on who's using the term and for what purpose, there's many times when it has a lot of fictional criteria and definitions behind the meaning. And in addition to that, when we look over kind of the expansive or the long-term federal Native American history and policy, I I like to think about it as kind of peaks and valleys. There definitely are a lot of highs and lows. And a lot of times policy is reactive to what's going on historically and socioeconomically. And so I kind of just want to paint a big picture that we can kind of carry with us as we walk through these topics and consider them. So in terms of terminology, tribal sovereignty is a term that's used a lot, and it's used in a lot of different contexts, and its meaning is very dependent on who's using it and for what purpose. I often look at tribal sovereignty around the definition of a legal fiction, but we have to remind ourselves that tribes predate treaties, tribes predate the Constitution, and we are sovereign entities by way of being. And so when we talk about the federal definition or how states look at tribal sovereignty, they are looking at it from a different context. And it's more of a semi or a quasi sovereignty. So the just general definition of sovereignty is it's basically the supreme power of existing. It's the way that you govern your people and your territory. You make laws and you impose different sanctions around to the violation of those laws. So when we look at sovereign powers in general, there's external and internal actions that those sovereign powers take. Externally is how they engage with other sovereign entities, and internally how they engage with their land and the activities of their people or people on their land. Sovereignty can be a shield or a sword. A lot of times we as tribes say we're sovereign, and we mean it because we are sovereign. We don't want you coming in and trying to impose laws or actions upon us. But sometimes we also use it to say, we're not responsible. We're sovereign entities. So, we have to think about sovereignty as you're only as sovereign as you make it, because sovereignty is about how you engage with other sovereign entities, right? And whether that entity respects your sovereignty. And in the context of the United States, our sovereignty or our sovereign powers are continually under attack. And their definition of our sovereignty, they continually try to chip away at it. I purposely put the picture of the US Supreme Court with the Navajo Nation Supreme Court, right? Both equally as powerful courts to make decisions governing their people and their territory, but one actually, we fear their decisions when tribal cases are brought before them, and the other not. So in terms of who has our best interests at heart. So when we're talking about tribal sovereignty, or the definition that the federal government has of tribal sovereignty, it's a nation within a nation, and it's a evolving definition that comes through federal case law. But we know about our inherent sovereignty, the non-federal definition. And we know that by way of being, we are sovereign, and that was recognized by foreign powers. Otherwise, they wouldn't have negotiated in treaty making, even though they weren't very good at that. But when we're looking at the federal definition, we do have to realize that under their definition, at the end of the day, the federal government has the power to expand sovereign authority or contract or restrict sovereign authority. And when we look at Supreme Court cases, there was a case recently where it actually expanded tribal jurisdiction, and then they spent the next 5 years with multiple cases constricting tribal jurisdiction. So it's a constantly ebb and flow, but often they're looking at minimizing our sovereign authority. This is all based on, again, historical religious fictions that were for the purpose of expanding power, economy, ownership, authority, and doing that at the expense of indigenous people all over the world. So we really have to understand, doctrine of discovery really becomes the basis of what sovereignty means according to the federal government. And that's a problem because the doctrine of discovery is inherently racist. The doctrine of discovery is founded upon the belief that indigenous people are inferior and that where there is apocalyptic Christianity, land should be taken from non-Christians, and those Christian powers should impose their government and authority and economy by suppressing and enslaving the people who don't share those Christian views, right? That's the doctrine of discovery that led the Crusades, and that's the doctrine of discovery that leads colonization today and makes colonization still a very valid, entity within our modern government. I won't belabor too much about the legality, but I do think it's important to understand that the fundamentals of what the federal definition of tribal sovereignty entails today were created by Supreme Court cases in the early 1800s, and it's still good law today. And that first case, Johnson versus McIntosh, relied on using the doctrine of discovery to say that indigenous tribes could not own land, that they only had the rights to use and occupy it. And that was based on a land battle between two white folks, two white settlers who had land patents, one from the government and one from someone who purchased it from a tribe. And so it became the issue of which white man had the valid title to the land. And essentially, the Supreme Court reached back into British common law, used the doctrine of discovery to say that by way of being so-called conquered, indigenous people lost their rights to land ownership. And they only had Aboriginal title, which is use and occupancy. And so today, when we talk about reservation lands, when we talk about trust lands, that's what we're talking about, use and occupancy. The federal government has the authority over those lands and the authority over the interpretation of sovereignty in terms of how we apply our laws to it. And so, that's kind of a big picture thing that that we have to be cognizant of when we're talking about rights and justice for tribes. The Cherokee Nation versus Georgia started to mold the definition that the federal government uses as sovereignty. It was really around whether or not the Cherokee Nation could sue the federal government for trying to impose laws upon their lands. And they tried to go into the Supreme Court under an article in the Constitution that would create a venue for hearing a case between the federal government and a foreign nation. And so in that case, they decided whether or not tribes were foreign nations, and conveniently, again, building upon these legal fictions, they said, no, tribes are not foreign nations. Tribes are domestic dependent nations. And they started using guardian ward relationship. And so it really sets up a situation in a context of federal paternalism, where the federal government, again, is that overarching authority. And it also presented an assumption, or was based on the assumption, that the federal government would act in the best interests of tribes, which we all know they do not when those interests are competing, right? But the law still presumes that they're doing that, which creates a lot of inequity and injustice in our history. Worcester versus Georgia was an act of civil disobedience, again, with the Cherokee Nation, when they couldn't get to the issues of the case through their going directly to the Supreme Court. They get kicked out, told they're not a foreign nation. So they have an individual who tests it. And Sam Worcester is a missionary. He goes into Cherokee Nation, violates Georgia's laws, saying that he needs to get a permit and take an oath of allegiance. He doesn't do that, and he gets sentenced to 4 years hard labor. And so he appeals to the Supreme Court through a writ of habeas corpus, which is a legal detention, essentially. And they try the case now, and they say during that case, Georgia, no, you cannot make laws that impact Indian country. It's only for the federal government to do that. But they make the one caveat. If the federal government decides to give the state power to make laws, then it's okay. And so you can see again where, if we have clear lines, the federal government is here and tribes are here, and they have this relationship, the state should stand over here, right? But there are situations where the federal government can say, all right, the state can be here and the tribes will be here. And so the federal government can essentially delegate its authority to the state to make laws that impact Indian country. And they've done that. I think tribal gaming is a really good example with the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, the requirement that tribes have a compact with the state government is a perfect example of state authority over tribal sovereignty and jurisdiction. So we see that play out on multiple levels. Sovereignty is the right to self-governance. There's also something called sovereign immunity, which stems from that old feudal law that the king shouldn't be sued because the king represents the people. That concept applies to tribes, but there are ways to sue folks for acts outside of their official capacity, and there are ways to get around that. But sovereign immunity is something that is still a challenge, because if tribes want to engage in a contract to do development for a school or get a loan, they have to waive their sovereign immunity in order to do that. And so we try to do that as little as possible in Indian affairs, but it's something that for a long time really created challenges and prohibited the development of infrastructure and investment in Indian communities. So we have inherent tribal authority, we have legal sovereign status. We talked about those external and internal powers. And essentially, when we're talking about the federal definition of tribal sovereignty, they're essentially saying we're limited to those internal powers. We have the rights over our own lands and people, but we don't have those external rights to engage with other sovereign entities outside of the federal government or the state government, should they choose to appoint them. So that kind of gives us a broader context on what sovereignty means. And it's something to keep in mind. There is a lot of controversy over where the government really gets the authority to interpret sovereignty in this manner, because if you actually look at the Constitution, there isn't really any mention of tribes outside of the initial Trade and Intercourse Acts, and those were really around fur trading, right? And dealing with conflicts between tribes and fur traders on the so-called frontier. And so when they start regulating things, when it comes to treaty rights, when it comes to criminal jurisdiction, when it comes to membership authority, those things are not really rooted in the Constitution, and so they have to find that power and interpret it from a different place. One thing that's important to realize is that when we talk about treaties and we talk about how they're implemented and violated, because all of them were violated, treaties are considered like contract law. And in contract law, there's something called adhesion contracts. It's when one party has a weaker bargaining power than the other party. And so you see that guy signing the contract with his handcuffs on, right? You don't really have the freedom to decide. You're doing it because you want to get out of those handcuffs. It's a good way to think about the construct of treaties and how they were negotiated. And so there are elements of the law that if there's ambiguous phrases in treaties, they're supposed to be interpreted in favor of Native people, but they don't always follow that, even though it was their own idea. So federal Indian law is a frustrating area, because you often see them kind of violate their own rules and recitations. So when we think about these peaks and valleys, we have to look at the context of policies in these different eras of history. And so we have the removal era in the 1830s to 1887. And some of the things that fall within that are the Major Crimes Act, a concept, another legal fiction called plenary power, which gives the federal government essentially absolute authority over Indian affairs. They were setting themselves up for that, but they keep reinforcing it in the federal Indian law. We have those initial Cherokee cases that were decided that really give us the foundation of tribal sovereignty and federal Indian law. And we have removal and relocation, right? Where we see people manifest destiny, where we see the attack, the annihilation, and the removal of tribes from the east to the west. And that was carried out obviously through removal acts and other. The next era that we have is allotment and assimilation, 1887 to 1934. We see the federal boarding school system. We see westward expansion. We see the gold rush out here in California. But we also see the introduction of blood quantum. And once we see that folks are moving westward, then the focus becomes on the land and the tribes that have already moved there, and how land is dispossessed from them by settlement as it moves out west. And I think this picture for me is very powerful, because one of the things about manifest destiny and how it was justified, because everyone wants, I guess, some kind of nobility in their origin story. It's the angel floating over the wagons, and it's considered God ordained, right? Because the people who were coming were doing it for spiritual purposes. And that was used as a means to justify the violence and horror that it cost for Native people. So what we see happen during this era of allotment and assimilation is really a huge reduction in Indian land holdings. And we see blood quantum being introduced as a means to define who is and who isn't an Indian. The Dawes Act was a really important scheme to get 90 million acres of additional land in Indian country. And they did that by introducing full bloods and half bloods and using that as a basis to allot land to male heads of household who eventually lost those lands or reverted back to the tribes. The Dawes Act was stopped in 1934, but it was instituted over several decades and really resulted in the loss of land. And you can see this illustrated in these slides. 1860, you're seeing the color areas of these maps being Indian land holdings. And then 10 years later, 10 years after that, and essentially very little land being left. We also see during this period government assimilation policies and the efforts to, in the words of Pratt, kill the Indian but save the man, which then meant killing everything culturally, religiously, about Native people in a way to erase us through our children. And that is something that happened alongside these policies. The doctrine of plenary power was really grounded in this idea for absolute authority and control because the government wanted control over criminal jurisdiction in Indian country. There were a lot of rules around settler and versus Indian violence, but when it was Indian versus Indian violence, they didn't have the so-called motivation to intervene until this case in 1885, I believe it occurred. This actually is a really interesting case because it had a direct relationship to the boarding schools. Crow Dog, there is a lot of theories around why Crow Dog killed Spotted Tail. But one of them is outlined in a book about boarding schools by Sally Jenkins, and I recommend it. It's a really good book about Carlisle and Jim Thorpe. But it talks in that book about how Spotted Tail had 13 children at the Carlisle school and that he went there often when he went on delegations to Washington, D.C. And he witnessed what was happening to kids, how they were being punished, how they were being, what food being withheld, how they really weren't living up to their promise of why they took kids in the first place, which was that they told him they wanted the kids to replace the corrupt Bureau of Indian Affairs agents on the reservation, and that his kids weren't really getting educated in the way that they had described. And so there's a story, it's a really interesting story about Spotted Tail saying all of the Rosebud kids are coming home. And he took his kids home, including, I guess, one kid on the platform who didn't even belong at Rosebud, but he just scooped him up. And they took the train back and they left Carlisle. And Pratt threatened him and told him the Great White Father would not be happy with him. And not too long later, Crow Dog shot Spotted Tail. And there's many theories that perhaps Crow Dog was hired by the federal government to do that. So this became a really interesting case because it was an Indian versus Indian crime. And according to the tribal tradition, Crow Dog had to step into the shoes of Spotted Tail. It was restorative justice and provide for the 13 children that Spotted Tail left, and the wives and the families. And in traditional society, restorative justice is about making everybody whole, right? And being able to provide and step into the shoes of someone you took away. And it worked in those societies at that time. Many elements that we could use today. However, the Western form of an eye versus an eye, tooth for a tooth justice did not like to hear that Crow Dog wasn't hanged for his crime. And so they wanted to hang him, and they wanted to try him for the murder of Spotted Tail. And in this case, they actually said that the US government doesn't have criminal jurisdiction over Indian people. And it wouldn't be right to hold Crow Dog to essentially foreign laws that he wasn't aware of, right? And so it was actually a win for tribal sovereignty. And right after the case was decided, Congress passed the Major Crimes Act in 1886, saying if it was started at 6 crimes, and now it's several dozen crimes, but if murder, rape, kidnapping, any of these things happen between an Indian versus Indian crime on a reservation, the federal government has authority and control. And so this is something that still extends to us today. It's something that really drives the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women, because the federal government doesn't allocate resources to really addressing crime in Indian country. They just want the power. So it's interesting to see how much history really fuels a lot of our contemporary challenges. All right, so let me see. Trust relationship is really around that federal paternalism, but knowing that in treaties, there's a fiduciary responsibility for the federal government to carry out duties that benefit the way that they hold our assets and our resources. And the administration of those duties are within the Department of Interior. This is the first time we've ever had a Native American Secretary of the Department of Interior. We've had the Assistant Secretary be Native American for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, but we've never had someone who was at the top of that infrastructure until Deb Haaland. This is kind of I won't go too far into this, but this is kind of the way that a trust is set up. Most of the time, the trustee is someone separate and someone accountable and responsible. But in this case, the federal government is both the trustee and the beneficiary, which leads to corruption. And we have lots of examples of that. The Colbell case is a perfect one. If you ever look up the billions of dollars that are unaccounted for in the individual Indian money accounts that the federal government mismanaged. We have the reorganization era. That is in 1934. That is when the allotments were finally stopped, but that was in response to government studies, one being the Merriam Report, that looked at the dire situation in Indian country and how people were dying at very young ages and poverty that was going on. They proposed solutions, but they didn't work out to be that way. They passed Indian Reorganization Act constitutions that really made our tribes more like corporate governance rather than tribal governments. And they anglicized them. They whitewashed our tribes, and it's taken many years for tribes to get rid of a lot of the IRA Constitution legacies. One of those legacies was actually saying that the Bureau of Indian Affairs had to approve mining contracts and things like that, which was also very corruptive. In California, we're going to be going through a lot of this when we talk about our history and decolonizing that history. But I do think it's important to kind of line up some of the things that were happening in California around the time of these different eras and what was being implemented during that time. California, you know, comes late to the Union, and I feel in many ways it the violence is very rapid and intense, because there had been a lot of practice ahead of time. So we'll get into a lot of these details next week or 2 weeks, and I'm sure that William Bauer will have a lot of information around that as well. The termination era was after the reorganization era, and it's important to contextualize it around the government feeling like it had an Indian problem, although I think they thought that all along. But that Indian problem had to do with money and the government not wanting to allocate the trust responsibility, the fiduciary duty that it owed to tribes. And so it started looking at ways to get rid of them. So we see 40 tribes being terminated in California. We see the federal government giving states its jurisdiction through public, but not giving them any funding to exercise that jurisdiction. We see assimilation being furthered by the Indian Relocation Program and how Native people were put into urban areas with false promises and ultimately left there with no support. And again, you know, we have resilience and we survive many of these policies that were aimed at eliminating us. But the legacy of that is still very much intact. You know, when I was growing up and I would watch my dad teach Native American studies, he always made the point that no one who passed these policies anticipated that there'd still be tribes in 2024. And there's some that really don't want to see us in 2034. So we have to be cognizant of that in the way that we advocate on behalf of our students and future generations, because we're all walking miracles that we're still here. And our kids will continue those miracles into the future, but we have to be able to support them as best we can. And that's through cultural revitalization, that's through building confidence in their identity, that's through examining our own tribal policies and state and federal policies in how they support the future of American Indian children and their education. And so the era that we're still in is the era of self-determination, and it came you know, at the onset of Native students and American Indian movement members who got out and brought public attention to the atrocities and what Native people were experiencing in their own homelands. And there were a lot of laws that were passed to further the future of Native people, although those laws are not perfect, and we continue to have to work on them, and we continue to have to protect them when they come up against people who would like to eliminate it. So I think, yes, that's the last slide. Hey, I did that kind of quickly. All right, let's run to our debate screens and see how it's going. So I'll leave it there, and I appreciate you all for hanging in there tonight. And we will continue these discussions in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. And again, this is being recorded. I'm putting some things in the chat, but know when we put it in the chat, we'll also put it up on the website. Again, that's a nice overview of a lot of the history that Nikki and guest professors will go in. One of the links I just put in, if you are teaching ethnic studies or history and you want to try out some of these lessons, or even if you're working at your tribal ed centers, we have a draft of the civics unit that basically goes through pre-colonization up until present day. And it highlights major events and pulls out primary sources and some resources. So know that that's linked in there for you. And we have a teacher and a student resource guide for that. So we're working on slide decks that go along with that too right now. We just want to thank everybody for being here. I will stay on another 5 minutes. Just if anybody's new and they want more information, but know that on the website that has all the information there, we'll send you an email. We want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And yes, if you want to run off and turn on your TVs, it is an important time right now with civics education and also with everyone to know the impact of that. And so know that part of this too will be going into elements of politics and knowing what has happened over time with the federal government, with issues of sovereignty, and also issues of who's been elected and in office too. So thank you all for being here. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And if I don't see you before then, we'll continue to be in touch and send out emails and information out to everybody. Thank you, Nikki.